Republicans want to require all women in this country to have at least one child.
Oh, I'm gonna let you finish, but I feel like if that was actually the case, I would have heard about it and not from some random lady on TikTok.
And how do we know this? Because the author of Project 2025, Kevin Roberts, writes in his new book, The Dawn's Early Light, that he doesn't believe that having a child should be a personal choice. He believes that women should be required to have children for the good of the country. And J.D. Vance wrote the foreword for the book and a rave review.
Oh, you mean the Project 2025 plan that Trump has repeatedly crapped all over and said he doesn't support. And you're just ignoring the fact that he released his own agenda that doesn't have any of the craziest parts of Project 2025 and absolutely does not have forcing women to all have one child. In fact, he's even taken a pretty moderate view on abortion and IVF and this other stuff in recent months, trying to make up the ground his party's lost on that issue. Now, for this book, first off, which is not by a Republican politician, it's by the head of a conservative think tank, and it's not like, even if the book did say what she says it says, it's not like that proves that that's what all Republicans support. It would just be what one prominent conservative intellectual thinks. It's not something most elected Republicans, or honestly, I struggle to think of one, would ever actually sign on to or support. But what's even crazier is that that's not what's actually in the book. The book isn't released yet, but I was able to find the excerpt and the quotes from it that are motivating this fear porn from Media Matters, of all places, the left-wing watchdog. And in their article about the book, Media Matters says that Kevin Roberts, the head of the Heritage Foundation, writes that having children should not be considered a, quote, optional individual choice, but a, quote, social expectation or a transcendent gift. So, from the context of the other passages and quotes that I reviewed, what Kevin Roberts is talking about is making it a societal expectation that women should have children, rather than just some optional thing they might consider doing. That's not the government forcing women to have kids. It's a society that pressures women to conform and to have a child and to further the population growth and create a new generation. And look, I don't agree with that. I do think it should be considered an individual choice. I don't want to socially pressure people, but to say that it's the same thing as the government forcing women to have children is not true. And then to make many more leaps of logic and say that something a conservative wrote in a book that hasn't been released yet is therefore the official position of all Republicans is totally wild, absolutely unhinged nonsense. But that doesn't seem to deter our friend here.
They've actually delayed the release of the book until after the election because they know how absolutely damning it will be for people to read that, to read it. They actually put it in a book, that they think that every woman should have a child. This is where we're going, people. The writing is on the wall. They have been trying to control women forever. The men behind Project 2025, Trump, J.D. Vance, and everybody that worked for his administration are upset that women control life, and they don't like it. They're trying to take the control of life. Don't vote for them. Vote Harris Walls and Blue up and down the ballot this year, because this is a dystopian, crazy idea.
I totally agree that the government forcing women to have children is a dystopian, crazy idea, which is why I'm so glad that that's not a thing, and why I'm so concerned that you're lying to people and misleading them and spreading false narratives, fake news, and fear porn. Call me crazy, but I think it's bad to lie to people and mislead them and scare them far beyond what the facts actually support. You know, in Dune, the author Frank Herbert talks about how fear is the mind killer. And I think that's true. When people get scared, when people get afraid, their ability to think logically and rationally often becomes clouded, which is why people should be very cautious to scare people and alarm people at all, but especially cautious about doing so in ways that aren't actually justified by the facts. It's doing a profound disservice to those individuals, causing them unnecessary psychological and emotional distress, but it's also doing society a disservice because you're clouding people's rational judgment and you're swaying them based on things they shouldn't be swayed by. I don't tell people which way they should vote. I don't really care. I can still respect you as a person either way. But what I can say conclusively and firmly is that you should decide your vote based on actual facts and policy positions, not fake news and TikTok propaganda. And this whole fake alarmist approach really distracts from what I see as the many valid criticisms of the way that Republicans like J.D. Vance talk about women and talk about families and talk about choices to have a kid or not. When you take it to the nth degree and you exaggerate to the point of outright lying, you're actually undermining your ability to make legitimate criticisms of the often tone-deaf way that Republicans talk about these issues, which I've criticized at length on this show. So you're doing yourself and your own cause a disservice in addition to misinforming the public and making everything worse. Other than that, though, you're doing amazing, sweetie. What did you guys think of this wild woman's video? Let me know in the comments, and do hit that like button to reward my suffering.